This week on Viewpoints.
Activists started looking at rape laws and realizing there were these exceptions that didn't consider that married women had the same rights as single women.
We cover the grassroots push that exposed this legal blind spot in marriage. Then,
even today, I heard from somebody who said I'm quitting because the way that my bosses are treating me, he's just totally burned out.
The mental toll of having a toxic boss. I'm Marty Peterson.
And I'm Gary Price. These stories in depth this week on your public affairs magazine, Viewpoints.
She's been thinking about this sleepover all week, but I think about her food allergies all the time. Fortunately, her doctor prescribed Xolair, omalizumab. It's proven to significantly reduce allergic reactions if a food allergy accident happens.
Xolair 150 milligrams is a prescription medication used to treat food allergy in people 1 year of age and older to reduce allergic reactions due to accidental exposure to one or more foods. While taking Xolair, you should continue to avoid all foods to which you are allergic. Don't use if you are allergic to Xolair. Xolair may cause a severe, life-threatening allergic reaction called anaphylaxis. Tell your doctor if you ever had anaphylaxis. Get help right away if you have trouble breathing or if you have swelling of your throat or tongue. Xolair should not be used for the emergency treatment of allergic reactions, including anaphylaxis. Xolair is for maintenance use to reduce allergic reactions, including anaphylaxis, while avoiding food allergens. Serious side effects such as cancer, fever, muscle aches and rash, parasitic infection, or heart and circulation problems have been reported. Please see Xolair.com for full prescribing information. Ask an allergist about Xolair. This is an advertisement for Xolair paid for by Genentech and Novartis.
It's last call for football on FanDuel, with one last round of rewards every day through Super Bowl 60. One last week for one more chance. Visit the FanDuel app all week long for limited time boost every day until football runs out. FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 60.
New customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. 21 plus and present in select states. First online real money wager only. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
a brief note before we get into this week's story. Explicit content is discussed that may be unsuitable or disturbing for younger audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Marriage has long been treated as a private place, one where the law was slow to intervene. Today, forced sex within a marriage is a crime, but this wasn't always the case. In 1978, it was still legal in all but 4 states: Iowa, Delaware, Michigan, and Oregon. At the time, many Americans felt that the idea of spousal rape seemed preposterous and shouldn't apply to a husband and wife. Experts say these views date back to common law practices where, when a man married a woman, she became his property and handed over perpetual consent. But in 1978, a 22-year-old Oregon resident named Greta Rideout became the first woman in the U.S. to accuse her husband of rape.
And their marriage was really marked by a lot of what we would think of as, hallmarks of intimate partner violence. There'd be a lot of verbal abuse, emotional abuse. He had hit her on several occasions. And there were also instances where John would demand sex and Greta would either say no or sort of feel as if she was sort of pressured into it.
That's Sarah Weinman, author of Without Consent, a landmark trial and the decades-long struggle to make spousal rape a crime. She writes that in October of 1978, John Rideout raped Greta in front of their 2.5-year-old daughter.
John, however, said and would later testify that the sex was consensual. But because Greta had already had established contact with the Salem Women's Crisis Center, which in the late 70s was where women who we would consider to be victims of intimate partner violence could get some counseling or some help. And that was where she first started to understand some of the dynamics in her marriage. And she had also known that just the year before, Oregon had finally passed a law that made marital rape a crime.
She went to the police, and John Rideout became the first man charged with spousal rape while still living with his wife. He was acquitted, but the case ignited a broader push to expand women's rights.
This dated to Griswold v. Connecticut, where first married women could get birth control, and then later this extended to single women in the early 1970s. The Equal Opportunity Credit Act in 74, Roe versus Wade, of course, in 1973.
As part of these larger reforms, activists started also looking at rape laws and realized there were exceptions, namely that married women didn't have the same rights as single women.
So that was setting the table for all of these reforms that started to make marital rape a crime, which brings us finally back to when Greta pressed charges against John. And between the 2 months or so when the charges were initially filed and when the trial took place, it went from just being a local curiosity to being a huge national story with major ramifications.
During that period in the 1970s, an activist by the name of Laura X was key in pushing this issue forward. Weinman recounts a story where Laura X and California Congressman Bob Wilson were attending a dinner hosted by the National Council of Jewish Women.
And I bring them up because in 1977, they had issued a paper outlining why, according to the Jewish religion, marital rape definitely was a crime. And he says something which he later calls a joke, but I don't believe in rape jokes ever being funny. And the quote was, "If you can't rape your wife, who can you rape?" And so this was taken as kind of a galvanizing cry by Laura X and other activists because it is an outrageous statement. And it was kind of a linchpin for moving things along. There was significant outrage against Wilson, but in general, it really embodied the sort of flippancy that a lot of people, and particularly men, had about this very idea that you could rape your wife.
Even today, spousal rape is underreported. One recent study is from the nonprofit organization Equitas, which supports prosecutors handling these cases. The study shows that 10 to 14% of married women experience sexual assault from their male spouse. And even though it is a crime in every state, marital rape is not a federal offense. There are also many loopholes when trying to get a conviction in these cases.
For example, in South Carolina, though marital rape is a crime, you have to prove that it happened forcibly with actual documentation of violence. In Virginia, a man who is accused of raping his wife, if he goes to therapy, he can get the charges reduced. And I believe in about 8 to 10 other states, if a man rapes his wife and she is incapacitated, there would not be enough to press charges.
Today, spousal rape is still legal in China, India, and most Middle Eastern countries like Ethiopia and several Caribbean countries. But even here in the U.S., some people are surprised to hear that it's a crime in our country.
I've even found some conversations and podcasts on the right that are like, marital rape, is that even a thing? So the fact that all of these ideas are coming back, this idea that women are not equal, that they shouldn't be viewed as human, that they should be viewed as lesser, that's why it's really important to talk about what isn't ancient history. And the fact that people like Greta, who at tremendous cost, psychologically, personally, essentially became human punching bags. And people like Laura X and other activists also putting themselves on the line to say, this is wrong. Marital rape should be a crime.
Spousal rape is now a crime in all 50 states, but Weinman says the work is never finished.
One of the main reasons I wrote Without Consent is that we're living in a time in great backlash and regression. And it just with the snap of your fingers, rights that we thought we had could be rolled back in an instant. And so it's a good reminder that this is a subject not only worth talking about and raising awareness, but there is much more we can do.
Sarah Weinman's book, Without Consent, is available now online and can be requested through your local bookstore. To find out more about our guests this week, visit viewpointsradio.org. This story was written and produced by Polly Hansen. Our executive producer is Amir Zaveri. Our studio manager is Jay Silvers. I'm Gary Price.
Coming up, when the job is fine, but your boss isn't. What experts say makes these situations so difficult. When Viewpoints returns.
It's last call for football on FanDuel, with one last round of rewards every day through Super Bowl 60. One last week for one more chance. Visit the FanDuel app all week long for limited time boost every day until football runs out. FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 60.
New customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. 21 plus and present in select states. First online real money wager only. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
Sling is the live TV service that puts you in charge. Choose your plan. Orange for sports and entertainment favorites, blue for news and reality, or select for the essentials. Only pay for the stuff you actually watch. And pause your subscription anytime because paying for TV you're not watching? Well, that's just rude. No long-term contracts, no nonsense. Pick your plan, add what you want. Sling lets you do that. Visit sling.com to learn more.
Picture chicken nuggets in your head. Okay, now forget them. Because Taco Bell's crispy chicken nuggets are here. And they're nothing like the nuggets you know. All white meat chicken, coated in tortilla chips for that signature Taco Bell crunch. A nugget like that calls for a sauce that can keep up. Introducing Hidden Valley Diablo Ranch. The iconic ranch you love, fired up with Taco Bell Diablo sauce. Bold meets bolder, ranch meets Diablo, and it works. Crispy chicken nuggets from Taco Bell, a brand new classic. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only, while supplies last.
The Jack Welch Management Institute at Strayer University helps you go from, I know the way, to I've arrived with our top 10 ranked online MBA. Gain skills you can learn today and apply tomorrow. Get ready to go from make it happen to made it happen. And keep striving. Visit strayer.edu/Jack Welch MBA to learn more. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.
The first couple months of a new year always get people thinking about change. These can be small or big adjustments that lead to a better quality of life. For some, this can mean deciding to leave a stressful job. Sometimes the issue isn't the job itself, it's the person they report to. According to data from Gallup and the Pew Research Center, unhappiness with a manager remains one of the most common reasons workers leave a role. In recent surveys, nearly half of employees who quit said their relationship with their boss played a major part and outweighed pay, workload, or company prestige. Sheila Nielsen is a longtime career consultant and owner of Nielsen Career Consulting in Chicago. She specializes in working with lawyers and other business professionals who are navigating leadership roles, conflict, and are at career crossroads.
Just even today, I heard from somebody who said, I'm quitting because of the way that my bosses are treating me. He's just totally burned out. And he's this wonderful, bright, capable attorney who just can't take it anymore.
She says that what stands out is how common these experiences are. This unhappiness isn't triggered by a single incident, but by repeated behaviors that over time change how people feel about their work and themselves. She highlights some of the biggest issues that she's seen.
The big one that I've been hearing about the most lately are the bosses that really either thank or appreciate the work that's being done over time, under pressure, by their associates, by the people under them, their employees, and they create these burned out employees. So they're working at all hours of the night. They are supposed to be at a wedding, not their own wedding, but somebody else's usually, and they can't really be there. Or at a funeral, I hear about people, I'm at the funeral, I'm getting texted by my boss, and the boss has no real understanding of how important it is to have a life outside of the workplace.
And for some, this pressure to be always on can feel even more intense this year. Despite a steady workload, many companies have hit the pause button on any new hiring amidst the economic and political uncertainty.
Right now, people are very much under pressure. If they're busy, they're super busy, and the workplaces seem to be holding back on hiring. So what you're getting are those people who are left in the workplace are overwhelmed by the responsibility, the work, pile of work that they're supposed to do.
And what can often make a stressful and busy job worse is a boss that's chronically disorganized.
They create stress in the workplace because something is going to come due and they are not tracking it or watching for it, or they're overwhelmed themselves with work. They're overstressed and they don't plan ahead. And in a case like that, I usually tell the associate or the employee to manage up. In other words, anticipate what's coming. This is going to be due. You know that your boss is disorganized. Anticipate that that's going to happen. Give your boss prompts. It's almost like you're just, do we need to be on this? I think that this is due. Give your boss some prompts, and then that helps your boss. These bosses are just people. And by the way, they're under tremendous stress too. So sometimes that helps when an employee understands my boss is under stress. They're overwhelmed. That's why maybe they're acting like this with me.
Another one of the most damaging management styles is micromanaging. Instead of trusting employees to do their jobs, control and constant communication take its place. A dynamic that often leads to widespread burnout.
For an employer to be able to give up that micromanaging, sometimes people just are natural micromanagers. And when I work with partners who will say, I can't trust this person because they've made mistakes. So when I work with somebody like that, I say, well, you need to educate them better. You maybe need a checklist for them. And you need to give them the checklist and do that mentoring, and then they'll make mistakes, but they'll have to correct those mistakes, and that's how they'll grow. That's how you'll get somebody who will really support you. And some bosses can do that.
And not every problematic boss means to be that way. In many cases, the issue is less about intent and more about how people end up in leadership roles in the first place. Laura Hambly-Lovett says a lot of workplace strain starts when strong individual contributors are promoted, but don't get any mentorship on how to manage people. Lovett is a workplace psychologist and the author of I Wish I'd Quit Sooner: Practical Strategies for Navigating and Escaping a Toxic Boss.
You are a good engineer. You are a good computer programmer. You are a good lawyer. Whatever you are. So then you get promoted to managing human beings. And managing human beings is hard. Humans work in shades of gray. They're very nuanced. They're emotional. It's not an easy job, yet people get promoted into these positions as a reward, and then they're left with having to lead people, often with not appropriate training to do so. And so that's the problem that we see when it comes to leadership. And there's a lot of difficult bosses who aren't getting the right leadership support, and they're struggling and fumbling their way through it through trial and error.
And this raises an obvious question. If this kind of management is driving visible conflict or employee turnover, why does nothing change? Lovett and Nielsen both say this is where many organizations get stuck. A manager may be a top performer or a key revenue driver, even if their leadership style takes a big toll on the people around them. It's common for these two realities to exist at the same time.
People are leaving, people are stressed, people are going on medical leaves, and all this stuff is happening. And often it's because that individual is smart and they're bringing in something that the organization needs. They're bringing in clients, they're bringing in business, they're strategically brilliant, or they're in politically, so they're connected with the right people. Maybe they're friends with the CEO or friends with the chair of the board, if they are the CEO. But whatever is happening, they are ingrained politically, and they are doing something that brings money in, basically. And it's a hard decision because the company doesn't want to lose that money. But I can assure you what's happening is when you are losing people, you are losing money, because the cost of turnover is costing the economy billions of dollars each year from toxic bosses, and 87% of professionals have reported to one.
Nielsen shares a story of one of her clients who is a lawyer and liked their job but had big issues with their boss, who was high up in the law firm.
He told a partner something that she didn't want to hear about a case that he had researched, and he said, "You're not going to get this result based on the research that I did." And she up and threw a book at his head. And It's funny now, but it wasn't at the time. And he was horrified, as he should be. I mean, she had no business doing that. Could have hit him, didn't hit him. But after that, he said, I'm done. I don't want to work with her anymore. And then as it turned out, he ended up leaving that firm and going somewhere else, which was a better experience for him.
Nielsen and Lovett say experiences like these can quickly shatter a person's confidence. People begin to question themselves and often stay put and silent, hoping that the situation will change. For others, the fear of failure or a lack of other job prospects makes leaving feel out of reach.
One of your choices is to stay and to reframe your mindset around it. And I call it a psychological contract, because we all have a written employment contract, but a psychological contract is what I expect from working for you and what I give in return. And it's often totally changed and damaged by a toxic boss, where people get to the point where they say, I can stay working here, but I have to just treat it like a job, and I'll just do what I need to get by, and I'll fulfill my needs outside of work. I will just look at this as a paycheck. And that can work for a while, but if it's a truly toxic boss, they don't like it when you set boundaries. So if you're setting clear boundaries, they're not going to react well to it. So things usually erode over time.
For those who want to speak up, human resources may seem like the obvious next step. But Nielsen says involving HR doesn't always help clarify a situation. And in some cases, it can add another layer of complexity.
I don't think HR people are necessarily trained as therapists or counselors. So I'll tell you another story that a young woman who felt that she was unfairly treated in the workplace and spoke up to HR. She was a friend of my daughter's, as it turned out. So my daughter said to me, should she speak up? Should she talk to HR? I said, that is very risky, because she could be then targeted. And she spoke up anyhow, and she was targeted, and eventually left because she felt isolated after that, and sort of put off to the side, and she's a problem person. And so unfortunately, HR isn't always the answer.
Instead, she recommends trying to find someone within the company whom your boss respects and regularly works with. Essentially a person at a similar level as your boss, who may be open to hearing you out and helping navigate the situation.
There's a person who stands out, has been helpful. Try to go to that person and have a quiet meeting about what's going on and ask for advice. Now, what I've seen happen there when I make that suggestion is sometimes that person will be able to have a conversation with a difficult boss and can sometimes smooth things over, or the decision might be that this particular employee could do better in a different department. And that can be an answer too.
For those who decide it's time to move on, or simply want to avoid this situation in the future, it's worth paying close attention to any red flags that could point to a toxic boss and workplace. Levitt and Nielsen both agree that it's important to do your research before accepting a position.
In the interview, you are not going to hear the negatives about your workplace. The workplace you might join, you're not going to hear anything bad. You're going to, oh, it's great here. Everybody loves it here. You have to network your way to talk to people who know people who work there, who are married to people or dating people who work there, and hear what it's like to work with that boss, and ask tough questions. How are women doing there? How are people of color treated there? How does the boss handle stress? Are people getting ahead who are not who are not just friends of the boss, but are working hard and trying to be good employees?
Stepping back, these stories point to a broader issue, but they also highlight a choice millions of working people face. When toxic management styles go unchecked, there's a visible cost. It shows up in burnout, turnover, and a loss of morale. As the year continues on, people will inevitably ask how much they're willing to put up with, and if it's time for a change. To learn more about this topic and our guests, Sheila Nielsen and Laura Hambley-Lovett, head to viewpointsradio.org. For more behind the scenes, follow us at Viewpoints Radio on Instagram, Facebook, and X. This story was written by our executive producer, Amira Zaveri. Our studio managers are Jay Silvers and Jason Dickey. I'm Marty Peterson.
TaxAct knows filing taxes can be confusing, so we have live experts on hand who can help answer any questions you may have. Questions like, can I claim my SUV as my home office if I answer work emails in my car? If I adopted 12 dogs this year, can I list them as dependents? And, am I doing this right, or am I doing this very, very wrong? Our experts have the answers to those questions and many others. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
It's last call for football on FanDuel, with one last round of rewards every day through Super Bowl 60. One last week for one more chance. Visit the FanDuel app all week long for limited time boost every day until football runs out. FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 60.
New customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. 21 plus and present in select states. First online real money wager only. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
This is Viewpoints Explained. I'm Ebony McMorris. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and even if you're planning to keep things low-key this year, there's a good chance it'll still cost more than previous years. According to the National Retail Federation, Americans are projected to spend about $26 billion on Valentine's Day this year. That includes gifts, dining, and experiences. So why do costs keep rising? Part of it comes down to inflation and supply chains. Take flowers. The U.S. Department of Agriculture reports that most cut flowers sold in the U.S. are imported. Transportation and labor costs are still higher than usual post-pandemic. Add on top of that any potential new tariffs. Dining out is another major driver. Data from OpenTable shows Valentine's Day is consistently one of the busiest and most expensive restaurant days of the year. To manage demand, many places rely on prefix menus with higher price points, fewer choices, and set reservation times. What's interesting is that spending isn't disappearing, but evolving. NRF data shows more people now spend on local experiences, small gifts, food delivery, or shared activities instead of grand romantic gestures. In the end, Valentine's Day is less about feelings and more about timing. If you're celebrating this year, don't wait until the last minute to lock in your plans because it may end up costing you a lot more. That's Viewpoints Explained for this week. More in a moment.
It's last call for football on FanDuel, with one last round of rewards every day through Super Bowl 60. One last week for one more chance. Visit the FanDuel app all week long for limited time boost every day until football runs out. FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 60.
New customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. 21 plus and present in select states. First online real money wager only. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
At Strayer University, we help students like you go from will I to why not. For over 130 years, we've been innovating higher education to make it more affordable, accessible, and attainable so you can reach your goals. Go from thinking, can I, to yes, I can, and keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.
Welcome to Culture Crash, where we examine what's new and old in entertainment. Last year, HBO Max's new series The Pit was a little medical TV show that could. It was touted for being a Noah Wyle star vehicle that put him back in an emergency room and surrounded him by a cast of relative unknowns to deliver one of the simplest pleasures we have, a fun, week-to-week TV drama. What happened next was The Pit became an absolute juggernaut, eventually winning both the Golden Globe and the Emmy for Best Drama Series. Now, the show's attempting to follow their stunning success up with a second season. Part of what gives me confidence in The Pit Season 2 is that the formula behind The Pit isn't a big secret. Every week, audiences will get interesting medical cases. Over the course of the season, simmering tensions will build and various plot threads will all start coming to a head at the same time. Many of the episodes will end on a cliffhanger, and audiences will wait on bated breath to find out if everything's going to be okay. Sometimes it won't be. I don't mean to sound dismissive because this is exactly what so many of us want out of a TV series. Highly serialized prestige dramas can be wonderful outliers, but traditionally, TV has been an art form defined by consistency. If I'm going to continue to tune in on a weekly basis, I usually want to have some inkling of what's going to be in store. This is similar to how beloved hospital shows like ER or Grey's Anatomy have played out in the past, but it's also worked across genres for shows like Lost or The West Wing. I don't know every twist and turn The Pit has in store for us this year, but I know I'll watch with eager anticipation every time. The Pit streams on HBO Max. I'm Evan Rook.
And that's Viewpoints for this week. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to learn more about upcoming shows and find a library of past programs on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. Plus, you'll always find previous segments and more information about our guests at viewpointsradio.org. Join us again next week for another edition of Viewpoints.
TaxAct knows filing taxes can be confusing, so we have live experts on hand who can help answer any questions you may have. Questions like, can I claim my SUV as my home office if I answer work emails in my car? If I adopted 12 dogs this year, can I list them as dependents? And, am I doing this right or am I doing this very, very wrong? Our experts have the answers to those questions and many others. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
It's last call for football on FanDuel, with one last round of rewards every day through Super Bowl 60. One last week for one more chance. Visit the FanDuel app all week long for limited time boost every day until football runs out. FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 60.
New customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. 21 plus and present in select states. First online real money wager only. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
Picture chicken nuggets in your head. Okay, now forget them. Because Taco Bell's crispy chicken nuggets are here. And they're nothing like the nuggets you know. All white meat chicken, coated in tortilla chips for that signature Taco Bell crunch. A nugget like that calls for a sauce that can keep up. Introducing Hidden Valley Diablo Ranch, the iconic ranch you love, fired up with Taco Bell Diablo sauce. Bold meets bolder, ranch meets Diablo, and it works. Crispy chicken nuggets from Taco Bell, a brand new classic. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only, while supplies last.
The Jack Welch Management Institute at Strayer University helps you go from, I know the way, to I've arrived with our top 10 ranked online MBA. Gain skills you can learn today and apply tomorrow. Get ready to go from make it happen to made it happen. And keep striving. Visit strayer.edu/Jack Welch MBA to learn more. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.